There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am, as always, your host, Nick. I am here to, or I shouldn't say I'm not here to, we're here to discuss the Rod Serling famous TV series that he only created by himself, that no one else helped him with. That's why he's such a genius. Not really. We're all here to talk about his series and how famous it is and stuff like that. But before we do, we're on audio feeds, Anchor, YouTube, Global Anonymous, Alcohol's Anonymous, which is where I'm going to have to go here after drinking so many beers. And
You had like half a beer. That doesn't count.
I don't know. This is
You're talking about a fucking Heine. Those aren't that strong.
Hey, I don't drink very often, so hush.
Oh,
this
suck
is
it
a
up,
pint.
cupcake.
I'm drinking a
Oh,
pint.
wow.
You.
Wow, what a
You
I
guys
used
would
to be
drink-
a heavyweight. I'm a lightweight too. Don't worry. I'm with you.
Jesus.
I
True.
Guys, I could
Triv's
drink
like-
you both under the table, and I'm
You
two-dimensional.
Well, I mean,
You definitely could.
Fuck.
you drink the amount of cups of Uranus that you drink is ridiculous. We didn't send
However-
you to a AAA meeting.
I was always really good. It didn't take much to ever get me drunk because I'm a fairly small guy, but I could always just keep on putting them down like nonstop and get real fucking drunk. But like I rarely lost it. Like I could just keep on putting them down though. So, but I'm a lightweight, as far as, like getting drunk.
I mean, I used to be good. I used to be able to drink like, a 6-pack or a 12-pack and be fine. Now it's like I drink one beer because I don't drink very much anymore. And it's just like, you remember that time when we discussed anuses? That's how I feel sometimes when I drink one beer. So
You guys don't want to.
crazy.
Let me
Yeah.
start drinking before we come on one day. It's been so long since I've been drunk. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I think that at
Yeah.
least one time that you drank way too much was when we were doing it wasn't Freaked. What movie was it?
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids. I
Yeah,
didn't
Garbage Pail
drink
Kids.
that much that night. I was having a nice little buzz, yeah, but no, I'm talking
Yeah.
about like let me like drink a few beers.
Dude, you
I'll come
pissed
on
all over
here.
my floor.
Well, pissed on my floor too. It's cool.
And you guys someone broke the toilet. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, no,
Glad to piss on
I
the
think
floor.
I think when we get to the end of this series of the Twilight Zone, the 1959 series, I think we should just take shots after shots after shots as whatever to see how bad it gets. And then when I wake up the next morning, I'm like,
podcast
oh,
is we just take
It
shots.
it better
Yeah.
be on a weekend night so I don't have to work the next day.
oh no,
Yeah,
we're
I'm not
bringing
22
everyone in.
anymore.
We're bringing you guys. You two are coming on, and I'm bringing Rob, and I'm bringing Dan, I'm bringing Alex, and I'm bringing everybody who's been on the show is going to come on. We're just going to get drunk and
Maybe
talk
like
about
Avengers
how
or-
we survived 160 episodes of this series.
And then
So-
like
Especially
we'll have like a
season
secret
4.
word, like Pee Wee's Playhouse. Every time somebody
Oh,
says,
yeah.
you, like lose your shit and you take a shot, or like
The secret password is
like you can't do that on television. Every time somebody says
right,
every time somebody says shot, you gotta take a shot.
right. Oh my
Awesome,
god, I don't want
shot.
to. We'll all be dead. The Twilight Zone will be the murder of us all. So
Well,
It'd
there
be
are
the-
worse
the
ways
great
to go
twist.
out,
right.
like being chased by a bunch of topless women on roller skates.
Oh man, bring it on. I'll take it. Anyways, with that said, those two crazy wild individuals are of course Jacob from Jacob Anders Reviews and Triv from Trivial
Wild and crazy
Theater.
guys.
Yeah. Triv, is your theater back in check yet? Or is it still
No,
out
it
of
still
commission?
is blinked out of existence because of Dan.
I don't know. I seem to feel like you hate Dan for some reason. Like Dan, it's all Dan's fault, but I don't blame Dan. I think he's an innocent
Oh,
bystander.
Jesus. He gets what he deserves.
Kiwi
Is
TD.
that right?
And it gets worse before it gets better, I'll tell you.
Oh, I can't wait. That's some great back and forth. Hopefully he'll get reparations from your destroying his theater in the bomb explosion.
Dude, he blew up my theater.
He did it in the nice way. You're doing it in like the
He blinked out of it.
Um,
He blinked it out of existence.
but it's still probably
I
there
have
somewhere.
no
All you need to do
home.
is like give
I
the
have no
cat eyes a
home, and I have no job right now.
He brought up Soggy Biscuit. He deserves what he gets.
Exactly. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't remember what this is, but I'll just say okay. I'll go with that.
Don't look it up.
Yeah.
Do look
He's
it
like,
up.
don't
You
look it up as
deserve-
we look it
You
up.
deserve to
Never
look it
look
up.
Never look it up.
Look up blue waffles as well.
And
No, please
and
don't,
Red
people.
Sox.
Don't.
The
Yeah,
Red Sox.
yeah,
It's magical.
yeah, yeah. If you want to look up Red Sox, look up the Boston Red Sox. They're a team for the baseballs.
Really? No
anyways.
way. Holy crap.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it
really.
when we talk sports ball.
I know. Foosball. Talk
Football. We're gonna talk about some football.
So, why are we
Anyways.
here
Football
today?
knowledge.
Besides,
Yeah, why are we here today? We're definitely not talking about season 3 yet because we've decided that we're gonna recap season 2 and talk about all its shenanigans. It's been as we said earlier, a wild and crazy season. Started out with some lows, finished with some highs, kind of in between in the middle. It's a season that had probably some of the most
It's a season.
it's a
That would be
season
what you call
that has
it.
right. It has some of the most
Like,
memorable.
you can't call it anything else. You can call it a season.
Right.
Twilight
But it
Zone
has some of the most.
season 2. The Fifth Dimension podcast. It's a season.
Yep, because anal.
right. But it's a season with, I think, probably, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, probably some of the most memorable episodes ever produced for the Twilight Zone. I mean, would you guys agree?
Well, it had some very
Like,
memorable ones, and then it had some very
Yeah.
ones.
Well,
It's
this is true, but I'm talking about, I mean, if you go through our list, and I'll put the list up later, but if you go through our list of like the top 10 episodes, there's 1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5 in the top 10, and that's pretty crazy. I mean, yeah, there's 29 episodes, but I mean, think about it.
There's also, while we're on that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the bottom 10.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah. I mean,
There's
to
also
be
4
fair-
between 10 and 20.
thank you, Trev.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's that, and there's 2, 4, 6 between 20 and 30.
Oh
There.
my god.
19
1, 2,
episodes
3, 4, 5.
sprinkled in there somewhere.
4. There's also 5 between 30 and 40. But
But
there's only 3
Welcome.
between 40 and 50.
oh my god.
Ah!
As Rich Evans says, oh my god.
You know, I thought that was Ryan Reynolds.
You thought it was Ryan Reynolds.
For the longest time, I thought that
Really?
was Ryan Reynolds when he was like a kid. Somebody told me that a long time ago.
The oh my god.
And I've
thing?
told people that. Yeah, the oh my god kid from Troll 2. I've told people. I feel bad now. I feel as if I need to like make amends because I've told people, hey, you know, Ryan Reynolds, he was in Troll 2 because I was told that was Troll. That was
Oh
Ryan.
no.
But if you look at it, it does look like a young Ryan Reynolds.
It could,
Or
yeah.
it does. If you see young Ryan Reynolds, and you're like, no. But it looks like what Ryan Reynolds might look like in the
I
80s.
mean,
Right.
he certainly looks Canadian.
Yeah, he wasn't old enough. Like that kid's actually older than Ryan Reynolds, but whatever. It made sense when they said it. I was like, oh,
You know, Jacob,
I could probably search that and just, vet what you just said, but I'm just gonna roll with it.
Hey, Jacob.
I'm what's her face? I'm just gonna allow it. So we'll just allow it. It's Ryan Reynolds. It's been said, it's been done. It's almost Easter, so yeah, exactly.
Did you also know that Paul Rudd was in Mac and Me?
I did know that, right?
I know.
Wait,
So was
maybe.
Conan O'Brien.
Am I right about that?
Maybe.
I did know that. So you've got me questioning everything, all my movie knowledge now. All these years.
Man, I'm gonna blow your mind when I tell you 2 Oscar winners were in Encino, man. So that's gonna blow
I did know
people's
that.
mind. It's crazy. It
Pauly
wasn't
Shore's
Pauly
up
Shore that won the
next.
Oscar. Dude, okay, so
From
okay,
Pinocchio.
so Pauly Shore, and then we have Sean Astin, who of course was in Lord of the Rings that won an Oscar. Now we have Kay Kwan and Brendan Fraser both won Oscars. Pauly Shore needs to do something. He needs to get his shit together. So
I mean, he
the
was
entire
in
scene will be like,
Pinocchio.
Too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was
Biodome
in Pinocchio this past year. That's got to be worth something.
Have you guys seen?
I reviewed that.
Father.
Not on my
Did?
channel.
I
Not
don't
on my
know.
channel.
Okay.
It was on the I Heart Movies
okay,
podcast.
Father.
I also reviewed the Jonathan Taylor Thomas one and the sequel to that, which with Martin
There's a
Landau.
sequel?
Yeah, there's a sequel.
I knew that.
Oh,
I haven't
good
seen
Lord.
it. Though. I know
Oh
that.
my god, we reviewed all 3. Well, because he go like
What kind
I
of
Heart
fucking
Movies,
masochist would have you do that?
Jonathan North. He's a completionist though. So every version of Pinocchio we're in the process of
I get
doing
it.
right now. He did not put me on the like god awful Disney remake. And I'm pretty sure every version that I saw was better than the Disney remake.
I bet the Pauly Shore one's better than the Disney remake just because of how bad it is. Disney remake's terrible.
Without doubt. You know what? My threshold for what makes a good Pinocchio movie is whether the character spent at least 30 seconds staring at a giant pile of horse shit.
Oh well, this new one, it might be for you then.
No, I'm just saying that's my threshold for what makes a bad movie.
Gotcha.
So being that the Pauly Shore one, the Jonathan Taylor Thomas one, and the sequel to that, none of those had
no shit staring.
No shit staring. There was a horse in the Pauly Shore one, but it didn't, shit all
Pinocchio if John Waters made it.
Oh God, that'd be hilarious. Well, if it was that, it'd be a hell of a lot better.
Then Pinocchio would have eaten the shit. Anyway.
Exactly. That's different. That would still have surpassed the Disney remake because it wasn't Pinocchio staring for more than 30 seconds at a giant pile of steaming horse shit.
There we go. And with that said, Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone is definitely not a steaming pile of horse shit. I'll give you that much.
Not last time we possibly season 4.
Yes. Well, yeah. I you know what I want to do for season. Actually, you know what? Screw the season finale, the series finale for this podcast. We're just gonna drink every episode of the 4th season, and just that way it'll make it better and easier for us to get through.
We're gonna drink every.
That could make it worse.
No, I think it will make it better for better.
Time expands when you drink, though. Can you imagine? We get off on tangents like nobody's damn business when we're sober.
If you black out, it don't.
Oh well,
dude, there will be no Twilight Zone talk. We'll be getting into shit that your own kids and family will like rue the day we ever talked about when we're drunk. It'll be the greatest thing ever.
The day.
That's
dude,
just
I have a sick enough mind sober. Do you want to see me piss and drunk?
I don't know. Yeah, kind of. It'd be kind of hilarious.
Yeah, kind of.
All of a sudden, Avatar's hanging from the ceiling, like yeah.
Right. 2 worlds, 1 family.
Oh God.
Anyways, so with that said, let's talk about the second season. So this season started out with King. This feels like a long time ago. Actually, I gotta look this up to see how long ago this was.
Wasn't it like September or something? No, it was earlier than that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have felt so long ago if it weren't for the fact that I was homeless for like a month and a half.
Nick was a rambling man.
I was. When did this post? I gotta look this up.
Last year.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
June 13th, 2022.
Holy balls.
That's how long it took us to get through season 2. That's why it felt so long ago, because I'm sitting here going, Jesus Christ, we talked about King 9 Will Not Return, and then it ended with The Obsolete Man last week. It's funny to go back and look at the episodes because it started out with kind of a okay episode, then it moved into Man in the Bottle, which was a pretty good episode. It jumped down to like Nervous Man at $4 Room, a thing about machines. Then we had like 3 bangers after that. Like, I mean, you guys look back at this season, like, what do you guys think about, is it a season that feels like it was better than worse, or do you think it was worse than better, or like, how do you guys feel about it?
When was the break? When did we?
It was after
Mr. Dingle the Strong.
Yeah, it was with Dan, or I'm sorry, Bongo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Episode 19.
That was that.
And we came back with that. Oh, so yeah, we came back with that wonderful episode called Static.
I think for me, I usually let Triv go, but since I already started,
no, go for it.
This quite honestly, season 2 seemed like, when I just think Twilight Zone season 2 after watching it all, I'm like, it wasn't that great, but it had some really great episodes. Like, of course, the best one we ever did was Invaders, but it had 5 other top 10s. But like we also jokingly said, but in all seriousness, it had 5 bottom 10s too. But I think, because I was trying to think, I was like, it had other good episodes too, and solid ones, especially closer to the end. It seemed like it kind of ramped up. But like, I was like, why do I have such a negative opinion of this season? I think it has to do with that when we broke right there, we took a break for a while. I was left with Mr. Dingle the Strong, which was kind of goofy, but not really what I'd call peak Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was entertaining for its goofiness, but not peak Twilight Zone. Before that, the Odyssey of Flight 33, which was that's the time travel. That one was okay. And
yeah,
22, that's the exhaustion recurring. 22 is okay. I don't know. I just kind of had like a bad taste in my mouth during the break, and then we came back, and Static was. I didn't care for Static.
We were kind of
Static
in the middle of all the VHS episodes too.
Yeah, Prime Mover was okay. Prime Mover was all right. So I don't know. I don't really know why. I know that it didn't have the season didn't have a good start. King Nine will not return. I know you guys liked it a bit more than me. I really didn't
No,
like
I didn't like it at all.
like the end of it is what killed it. It just like I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like they were trying. It seemed like somebody trying to emulate a Twilight Zone episode. Like it was like when Tim Burton did that dumbass ending to his version of Planet of the Apes. It was like that's not. It's like you're just doing something to do something. You're having a twist that makes no fucking sense just to have a twist, like the sand in his shoe and all that. And like the next one, I think the Man in the Bottle was that
That was
one
with Ben. Yeah, that was where he became Hitler.
Yeah, I did like that one, and then Nervous. But we had a string of them there in the beginning. It looks like we had a string of good ones. There was a string somewhere where it was just kind of like, damn, we're just not having any luck with good episodes.
I think that was like right after we came back. There was a series of we had like a thing about machines, Templeton.
Yeah,
what other ones?
it.
Static. Like it was kind of that. No, wait a
Well,
minute. Those were before the break.
It also just didn't have. It had bangers, but they were all kind of like
Yeah, because
after the halfway mark, I guess.
What ends up happening is we had King Nine Will Not Return start out the season. Then we go into an episode that we like. Then it would be like 2 episodes that we hated. Then it would go into like 3 episodes we liked. Then it would go into a bunch of shit that we didn't like. Then it would go into like 1 episode we liked. Then it would go into some bad. So it's a season which I think is a little stronger than the first season, but not by much, to be fairly honest. Because
the way they're structured. The first one would have like, oh, here's like a filler episode, and then like a really good episode, then just kind of an okay episode. But whenever there was just like an okay episode, there'd be like maybe not a top 10, but a really memorable episode after that.
Mm-hmm.
This one was like, here's like a slew of either just kind of, that was fine, or bad. And then they'd have some just like bangers. But I mean, there was like, I don't remember there being those stretches of just kind of in the first season. I remember there being more like memorable ones, but then I'm looking back at these and I'm like, there's some really good episodes this season. So maybe it's just kind of like the way that they were, not the episodes themselves were structured, but like the season was structured, like how the placement of the episodes. Maybe that's what made it.
Well, it could be too a case of like, and this is going to be a terrible analogy, but like you think like a gymnast scores, you get like the really high ones and the really low ones, and then you average out the scores overall. Maybe the average, not score, but like the average like Twilight Zone episode was slightly higher than what it was with season 2.
I mean, I'm looking through and I see like a lot of really good episodes. So it's like it was a good season, but for whatever reason, for at least the second half, I've just kind of had this kind of thought like in the back of my head, just kind of like this season's not as good as the last one. But quite honestly, I mean, it's got some fucking amazing episodes in it. So
well, there's a thing about the second season that I find out that's interesting compared to like the other seasons. There's a lot more episodes in the first and second season that I remember than even the third season. There's definitely episodes I remember in the third season, but I think why I was so more impassioned about the season than I will be about season 3 is just, I know Man in the Bottle, I know Howling Man, Eye of the Beholder, Nick of Time, The Lateness of the Hour, all these episodes, because they're some of they're the ones that run during the New Year's holiday or whatever holidays that they end up running.
Right.
But
next season is To Serve Man, isn't it?
Yeah, it's To Serve Man and
yeah.
Kick the Can, and I think it's the
Miniature is in
Pool.
there, and Game of Pool.
It's a Good Life.
There's some like the season starts. I don't think it's like I think it's like season 2 where it starts on not quite the highest note, but it revs its engines. Or what does it start with?
Apparently season 1 or season 3, the first episode is 2. And apparently that's supposed to be a really fucking good because it has Charles Bronson.
I don't remember what that one is. Just by the name, I don't remember.
But it apparently has Charles Bronson in it, so it's supposed to be a pretty banger of an episode. But
do you think too, Jake? I know when we talked last episode, like you mentioned that up to this point, like there was a lot of solid episodes, but like at the back of your head, you always kind of knew you were able to suss out what was coming pretty quickly. And like with say Obsolete Man, you really didn't kind of know where it was going as much because you didn't remember it. Do you think maybe that's part of it too? Like just that you kind of could guess where they were all going, even if they had like good premises. Like those episodes that were slightly less than banger, they were good, but because you could kind of guess based on your experience where they were going.
Well, yeah, because like the banger episodes, besides the Obsolete Man, I just totally blanked on that one. But the banger episodes, I already knew. I remembered them. I was like, yeah, I know where this is going, and they were still great. But all the other episodes, I think you might be onto something, because the other episodes, while they were good, it wasn't like season 1. Man, it's like you never knew what was going to happen. You think you knew, and then oh shit, they went a totally different direction with a lot of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
With this one, I was able to, like you said, just kind of suss out what was going to happen. I still enjoyed them, but there were a few of them I was like, yeah, like the Silence. I knew like in the beginning, I had a good time with it and I enjoyed it, but I was never, I was rarely surprised by this season. They're still solid, but rarely surprised.
Do you think that's the simple fact that the episodes are ones that you probably remember? I mean, I know you say that you don't remember a lot of the episodes, but
well, the
a lot of these episodes.
Yeah.
What's that?
The really like the Invaders and Monsters on Maple Street, things like that. Yeah, I did. I remember. So that they kind of fell in that same category because I remembered those episodes. So of course I wasn't, surprised by them. But I think that like those, I remember when I first saw them, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I guess all the ones that would have, well, most of the ones that would have surprised me this season, I remembered. So I was like, yeah, all the mystery was kind of like taken away this season for me, and that's not really the show's fault. That's more that I've seen them. So, and I guess that's because season 1 was a lot more like mystery, and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen here, even though I'd seen them. It'd been so long, I just couldn't remember them. So I don't know, it just seemed a little bit more interesting, I guess, fresh.
I would imagine too that like with season 1, you were still kind of getting back into the groove of the Twilight Zone. Like once you get into that mindset of, you kind of think not the way that Rod Serling would think, but you do think like outside of the norm of, okay, this is the way the narrative seems like it's going, but it's kind of taken a turn over here, or the chances are good it could go over here. And that's where it ends up going in your patterns of thought when it comes to this kind of go in that direction. Would you say that season 2 might have allowed for that a little bit more? Season
1 gave you a lot of time to do that with like 36 episodes. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was that. I do remember. I think I remembered more episodes from season 2 than the first season. Like the beat for beat. Some of them in the first season, I'd be like, I vaguely remember this, but I don't remember what happens. But this one, there are more of them, like the ones I mentioned, that I was like, yeah, I know. Just I remember what happens, not I figured it out. I remember what happens with this. Oh, maybe that's it.
Gotcha.
Still good episodes.
Oh no, absolutely. I kind of feel like for myself, like you think, and I we've discussed this. Like there's that, I wouldn't even call it like a sophomore slump, but season 1 was so dynamic. Like everything was new and outside the box. And Rod Serling and his team, like they threw everything at season 1. And it was unexpected from the studios and stuff. I think with season 2, you do start to notice that like studio, like their fingers creeping in. Like, you look at the fact that they had to do VHS for 6 episodes to try and lower budgets. There was some limitations put on things that weren't there in season 1, which you would expect. A season in sophomore year is going to be a little different with that. But I do think you probably had a little bit more of that.
Well, we don't know how long he was developing season 1 too. He may have just had they may have just had like more time to put all that together and cultivate it before it went live. And then after it goes live for season 2, you got till next season. You got 1 year, if that, to put all this together. So maybe they just didn't have as much time to like, cultivate that perfect list. I don't know.
Well, on top of that, there is a lot of variety in the first season. And I don't think there's as much variety in the second season. I think is another problem. There's a lot of episodes that take place in the desert or deal with like really flawed individuals and stuff like that. Like when you get into stuff like The Invaders or Nick of Time, Eye of the Beholder, those episodes really truly shine. And you got a lot more of those in the first season. I think also, as Triv said, the first season was a way for the series to kind of show what its this is gonna make everyone laugh. Show what his dick is, and he did it really well. And the second season is like, yeah, we're gonna pull that dick a little bit back, that type of thing. I'm not trying to like sound gross or anything, but it's just like they've thrown it out there on the table, and now they're trying to be more mature with what they're doing. But I think sometimes when you try to be more like mature, sometimes it just doesn't work properly.
Did they go to
makes any sense.
space at all this season?
Outside of the invaders, I don't think so.
Well, they didn't.
Wasn't
I
King
guess
9
technically-
supposed to be
I
in
guess
space?
technically the invaders went to space, but I mean, not really. There's like no. I'm looking. Yeah, there's no space-esque sci-fi episode.
Yeah, I would say, will the real Martian please stand up? Dealt with space, I guess. Not
it's
really.
here.
Yeah, there was a lot more
Yeah.
time travel in this season. You had Rip
Yeah.
Van Winkle, you had Back Bear, Odyssey. What was the other one? 100 Yards Over the Rim.
Back there. That's the one with the.
That's where it
Makes
goes back
no
to
fucking sense, right?
Lincoln's time.
Oh God,
no,
I forgot
back there.
about it.
What's the one
Yeah, I
where he
forgot
went
about
back to like the? He was like at the playwright guy. Well, not playwright. The
You mean
actor.
That's Trouble Templeton.
Was that Trouble with Templeton?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that one sucked.
yeah.
I've been thinking
Yeah.
Trouble with Templeton was the Machines one. That's the one I've been getting.
That's the lateness of the hour, or is that a thing about machines?
Think about
No,
Machines.
yeah. Lateness of the Hour was.
Oh, that's where that's the clone thing, or her daughter, their
That's
daughter.
the
is like-
robot one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one was the first
The
shot
first
on
VHS.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't think that one was too bad. I know you didn't like it, Nick, but Trouble with Templeton, yeah, that was fucking terrible. That one makes no sense. Somebody explain to me how that makes sense, and I'll tell you how you're wrong.
Oh damn.
It did.
Yeah, we had
terrible.
we finally had episodes that were worse than The Fever. Can you imagine that? Static and Trouble with Templeton.
Oh, the thing about Machines was above The Fever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
shit. That's 57.
Where is it? It's 57.
Oh, I thought it was worse than that. Oh well. Yeah, but like, yeah, no space travel. Not really. I mean, you had the invaders, but you found out in the end. But I mean, that wasn't, no eulogy. Was it eulogy? Elegy.
Yeah.
Or like the one that I always talk about that has a really great
Third from the Sun.
Yeah, and the one with was it Roddy McDowell where he goes to Mars or whatever.
Yeah.
People are like all over or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, none of the like, we never saw anybody in like space space gear.
There wasn't any
Yeah.
devil stuff, was there?
Howling
The
Man.
devil didn't. Which one?
Howling Man.
Yeah, Howling Man.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Devil's
yeah.
But yeah, it was a
I'm-
lot more. It was a lot more. Just people dealing with strange little oddities and things like that, and some time, not always time travel, but time manipulation and stuff like that.
One thing
Well, I
too,
mean-
like I know that we talk a lot about it, but it seemed like they changed up the sets though. Like we had sets that reappeared, but it didn't seem like there was quite as many. Like, not to say that they were
Yeah.
on location as much. Like they weren't on location more this season, but I feel like they got a little bit more varied with where they shot, so it wasn't the same staircase showing up in 3 episodes this season or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm going into season 3 and I'm trying to suss out like what is, if there's any space episodes. I think the Midnight Sun. Well, the Midnight Sun kind of deals with
Midnight
space.
Sun really, I mean, it is, but it isn't. It deals with
Yeah.
wider things, but it's not really like that though.
There's nothing in season 3 that I can tell that's a space episode. I think maybe Rod Serling was either getting tired of doing space episodes, or he just felt he had better stories to tell. And on top of that, we're gonna see Rod Serling start doing a lot less writing in the next season compared to what he has been doing. Because once again, the videotape stuff broke him. The ideas of like the problems with the
studio.
corporations like interfering. You can just tell that once season 4 happened, that's when he's like, "Fuck this shit, I'm done." And
Yeah.
that's when season 5 got the bewitching pool.
What
Which
a
is
way
the
to
very
end
last
it.
episode. Right,
Although I
right.
will say that the movie that he followed up season 5 with is
Yeah.
pretty freaking good. He
Yeah, we'll
only
have to
wrote
watch
it,
that.
but it's definitely you feel the influence. It's excellent.
Right.
So what is you guys' personally, not our list, but what is you guys' favorite episode this season?
Man, that's
Like
I mean,
not even about quality, but if you like right now, this is your list, and you could just put your number one from this list. This not all of them, but this season. If it was just your list, your personal list, what would you put as number one for you personally?
Oh, that's hard.
I mean,
Honestly,
Pretty
I'm
easy
always
for
going to
me,
stick with the
Invaders.
obsolete man. Yeah.
oh man, it would have to be. So I'm of two minds. Like for my my own, like the way that my personality works, a most unusual camera for me is like the best of the episodes. But with the way that, like, as far as a Twilight Zone episode that I could watch time and time again, it would have to be either Nick of Time or Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up.
Most Unusual Cameras are good. I like that episode. It's
That was
goofy
ac-
as all get out. And I'm never going to sit here and say nothing is your choice, but I'm not going to be like,
No.
oh, telling someone peak Twilight Zone, a most unusual camera. But I had a really good time with that episode. Is my deep blue sea of
Oh, absolutely.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I
I'd
know
say
this is not good, but it's so good at the same time.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I say though, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? Like that's top 5 for me. Nick of Time and Most Unusual Cam. How about you though?
The Invaders.
Are you asking me or Jacob?
Well, I know, but yeah.
The Invaders is my
Well,
favorite. That's peak
yeah, I
Twilight,
mean-
in my opinion. But Eye of the
Yeah, I mean,
Beholder
I'm-
is that's our number one. Invaders number 2 for those listening. Eye of the Beholder is fantastic episode.
Oh, it's amazing.
But
it's not necessarily one that you have to see every day either.
No, but I do think that it has the one thing, because like our top 3 for this season: Eye of the Beholder, The Invaders, Obsolete Man, and even our top 5: Shadow Play and Will the Real Martian Stand Up. Shadow Play was. I think that what's interesting about that top 5, 2 of them, like those 3, Eye of the Beholder, The Invaders, and Will the Real Martian Stand Up, are quintessential Twilight Zone. All the markings, like that is if you sit somebody down and say, watch these 3, and that's the Twilight. This is the best. This is the Twilight Zone. But Shadow Play and The Obsolete Man are fantastic episodes, but they're different. I think they deserve where they're at. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, I think they should be moved, but they are not like your average Twilight Zone episode. Shadow Play with all of its all the interesting angles and the way they work the camera and the lighting. And Obsolete Man too is a lot of its aesthetic use and the way that it used, like it's especially in the beginning and the end sequences, all of its sets and everything. That was great.
Yeah, because when as you said, like, you know, if we're to think about the Twilight Zone, as you said, Eye of the Beholder is always going to be like that top episode. And I'm going to say right now, I'm looking down through the next few seasons, like the next 3 seasons. I don't think Eye of the Beholder is going to get supplanted. I think it's going to stay at number 1 because I don't think there's an episode as iconic as Eye of the Beholder coming up. I mean, there's episodes that are iconic that could fit in the top 10, absolutely, but there's nothing absolutely on here that is better than. I mean, you know, semantics aside from what I really like and what you guys really like, there's no episode on here that even comes close to Eye of the Beholder when it comes to it's how revolutionary it was for a TV series, just kind of how surprising it was. It's almost impossible. It's like that. It's like the Frank Grimes episode of The Simpsons, or the one where Sideshow Bob does the Cape Fear episode. There's some episodes that just can't be supplanted from being the top of their game. And
I don't know. And it's been so long since I've seen it. I might watch it now and be like, oh, but I remember To Serve Man being like a hell of an episode.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I know it's very well. It's like
Yeah.
imagery and everything. It's a very well known one as well. And I might watch it now and be like, it's not as great as I remember.
Oh no, it's fantastic. It's like one of the best in the series. It's definitely a top 5 episode. It's just, I think Eye of the Beholder is something truly special. I think To Serve Man has a shocking ending. I just think Eye of the Beholder has
an ending.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit in that episode.
See, but I remember you saying that about Monsters Are Due on Maple Street too, and not that as we go along.
That would be my outside of
no.
like Obsolete Man. That obviously it'd be one of those 2 would be my number 1 of all time because it's just how I've always been. Monsters Do on Maple Street is like one of those episodes that really got me into the Twilight Zone. The Obsolete Man is an episode that I think is perfect for what it's doing. But
Oh yeah.
if we're to talk about what the Twilight Zone represents, it's always going to be Eye of the Beholder. That's what I believe.
No, I agree. I agree with that. But I do think that and discussion. I mean, how many episodes on this list are as high or as low as they are because of the way that our discussions have gone?
Well, that's actually
Any of them.
what I was going to ask you guys is what is the most surprising and what is the most what was the most surprising episode and was the episode that you expected to be really great that ended up being pretty terrible?
I remember watching The Trouble with Templeton at one point, and I thought it was better than what it actually was, like when we got talking about it. And I think it's probably an interpretation thing too. If there would have been other people on there that knew more about it, it probably would have been a different case. But I remember that one being better, and it wasn't.
I have 3.
Go for it.
King 9.
No, Perchance to
not
Dream
return.
doesn't count.
That was last season. King 9 will not return. I thought it was a weak as shit beginning to the season, and going off of the high that we did with season 1 and just, you know, how great season 1 was. The first episode being now ranked 49, that was very disappointing. I was not expecting that. I figured the first episode we're going to come in. It didn't have to be a banger. It didn't have to, I couldn't even remember the name or anything like that. It wasn't like I had some expectation for this episode specifically, but it was, seeing as how it was the first one of season 2, I thought it was going to be better than that. And it was just kind of like, this is how we're starting. Not a good start. Night of the Meek, which I learned apparently has always been kind of a maligned episode. I was very aware of that episode. I didn't remember every detail about it, but I knew the name very well. I knew it was a Santa Claus episode, Christmas special. I just always thought that one was held in high regard for some reason. So when we watched it, I was like, oh, I mean, that was not all that. So that one surprised me a little bit. But as you guys informed me, you know, it's always been seen as kind of a weaker episode.
Yeah.
And The Howling Man. I thought it was going to be higher.
It's because I prepped that up like way higher than I think I
talked
think I was
about that episode every episode.
Yeah.
Howling Man's coming. Like one season ago, like 30 episodes prior, Howling Man's coming. I was like, man, this is gonna be like the bomb. I'm worried about my Invaders episode. And then it
was pre-Invaders though.
It was.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, man, I'm worried this might like. I don't remember this episode. I remember the name, like I'm aware of the name, but I didn't remember anything about it. And I watched it, and I mean, I think you guys enjoyed it a little bit more than me, which is fine. But it's sitting at 14, so I was like, I thought that was gonna be maybe like a top 3 or something. But once again,
I will also add, like, I remember Invaders. I don't remember it like well, and you know, you were like, well, it's a great episode, but you know, the closer we got in, it was like, well, it may not be as good as I remember. It might be better than I remember. You know, kind of that back and forth. No, exactly. And like the fact that it ended up at number 2, I was, and I know that we kind of not joke around with it, but you know, it's like, oh, it's gonna be up there. It's gonna take out Monsters to Do on Maple Street. Yeah, and it did. I mean, I was just like, wow, holy shit. So
I had to fight for that one.
Yeah, you gotta fight for your right to be number 2.
It was number 1 for a while. Wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was always been the Eye of the Beholder.
Oh, I thought it came before Eye of the Beholder.
No, it was like the week after, I thought.
Oh, okay.
No, Invaders was 15. Howling Man was or not Howling Man. Eye of the Beholder was 6. Number 6.
Oh, okay.
Episode. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it never basked in its rightful place. I understand. It's cool. It's whatever.
If you can't be number 1, you might as well be number 2.
Number 2.
If you don't finish first you're
loser.
Last.
How about you, Nick? Any surprises?
Surprises. Will the real Martian please stand up? I didn't know how I was gonna feel with that. Shadow play, because those are episodes that just kind of took me by surprise. And I know you've been amping up the Will the real Martian please stand up, but that ending I was like, holy shit, that ending is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
As far as like crappy episodes, I mean, I don't know. Like Howling Man, I guess maybe I was expecting it to be better than it was.
And it's not that it's a bad episode. No, not even remotely.
But when
it's number 14 out of 65 episodes right now. So
yeah. I don't know if there's one that I was like really disappointed in that wasn't expected to be disappointed in. Penny for Your Thoughts maybe was more disappointing than I was expecting. I don't know. It's like like going back into season 1, like Elegy was like I guess maybe more disappointing than most of the episodes in this season when it comes to stuff I like. I just think that I was most like more disappointed in the fact that there was stretches of like really just not great episodes of the season more than
Yeah.
anything. This is my biggest problem, like Dust and Back There and Whole Truth and a Whole Truth. Which one was a Whole Truth?
The Whole Truth was the car one. I thought that one was pretty good.
It's all right.
I thought it was awesome. It was hilarious. Or I thought it was
Boris
hilarious.
Yeltsin or whatever it was.
What the
It was like
Koreshnikov, not Koreshnikov.
Oh, where
Nikolai,
car dealer.
yeah, and it was Nikolai, crap, Russian
Khrushchev.
leader
It was Khrushchev.
Khrushchev. Yeah, Nikita Khrushchev.
Yeah. It's like, why is Nikita Khrushchev in America buying a car at a
Because he
I don't know.
must.
Car
It's a fucking Twilight
Yeah.
Zone. Suck it up.
But then
I
the
think
Invaders right after that.
There you go.
yeah. I think the most disappointing is the fact that they filmed like I think Night of the Meek would have been much better if it hadn't been videotaped. That's my opinion.
How did you guys feel about the videotape stuff? Since I mean, that is kind of like the 6 of the 57 episodes that we reviewed this season. But
It was fine.
By
It
and
could have
large,
been way worse.
oh yeah. I mean, by and large, I mean, when Dan was on, he kind of gave the background to some of that stuff. I think it depended on the episode. Like Lateness of the Hour looked atrocious, and that obviously didn't help. There was
the
another
robot
one that,
right?
yeah, there was another one that looked pretty crap.
That was the worst looking one.
Yeah.
But probably trying to think of all of them. I want to say the one that I liked the most. Maybe not most. I didn't think the episode was terrible, but man, yeah, it looked bad. That was the first thing when it first came out. I was like, video.
It's like 22. 22 was the same way. I'm like, oh man, I remember this being a lot better than it looks. It's so
I
bad.
thought
on
22
videotape.
looked okay. I mean,
Oh, that's the hospital one.
yeah.
And then the next episode, like there's something to do. They're connected.
Oh, the Odyssey of 33.
That's the one with the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
expensive, like the Flight Odyssey of Flight 33 had the most expensive. That whole dinosaur thing was the most expensive thing the Twilight Zone did.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I guess Long Distance Call was pretty impressive with videotape. I think it was fine until they didn't want to show the kid dying, which is
Was
very,
Long
very
Distance
weird.
called VHS?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was this.
I forgot
one
that.
filmed. Oh yeah, that's the one with the kid who ended
Yeah,
up
Christ
Bill
to die,
Mumford.
yeah.
Back to his grandmother.
pool or whatever at the end.
Yeah, it's the precursor to Bewitching Pool.
Oof.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's my main quabble. It's just the simple fact that there was it felt like there was like a little less enthusiasm going into the season maybe than last season. And there was some pretty bad episodes in the last season, as we learned before Jacob came on with Judgment Night.
I mean, it wasn't great, but it certainly wasn't the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
What, King 9?
No,
Okay.
Judgment Night.
That's the
He's talking from last season.
Yeah. I'm just pointing out last season with Judgment Night.
The end of that one was trash. I'm sorry.
That-
I watched it and I
whole
was like,
episode
the
was
end
trash.
was so confusing. It was like edited. It was like put together so crap. You're like, wait, what just happened? Like you get it, but you're like, what? How did that happen? Wait a minute.
Carefully.
Wait a minute. I get what. What? Yeah, I didn't love that one.
So I've been keeping a tally in my mind of how many people Nan Adams has killed this year, and I think it's like in the thousands right now. I mean, she killed a busload of people. She like drive on a roof or something like that. I don't know. She killed many people in this season. There's a whole bunch of people. I think she was like the invaders. I think she was all the little invader robots.
Was she driving the bus and Will the Real Martian Police Stand Up?
Yes. Yeah, she was. She was the police vehicle that drives into the river.
She was also in the Howling Man. She wiped out.
She was the Howling Man.
She was what the devil used to wipe out, like to carry out.
She was the
genocide.
tiny stick.
Oh my god, I love that so much. It's just like
A
a
tiny
Barbie stick.
Right.
Come on, guys, you couldn't come up with a better prop than that.
Yeah, they took all the props for Ten Commandments. They only had the
Yeah,
little
there you
stick.
go.
But yeah, I
there were
mean,
some cool effects this season too. I mean,
yeah.
and obviously we've talked through them, but like for as middle of the road as Nervous Man in a $4 room was, I really appreciated like the way that they did the timing on
Oh yeah,
the
that was good.
on
The
the
mirror.
yeah, the mirror or the rear projected mirror, the
I
light,
mean,
and we talked.
it's no four of us are dying.
No, definitely not.
Hey, that
The
was really well done too. By the way,
yeah, oh, very much.
episode sucked, but
And
But
like you were talking before, like the use of lighting, I feel like it was maybe stepped up a tad this season. Like whether you're talking about like the way that they did lighting in Eye of the Beholder and Obsolete Man, or whether it was
shadow play.
yeah, sorry, Shadow Play. What was the other thing? Crap. I lost my train of thought.
Well, Obsolete Man had that real stark lighting, and just that was the set design and the lighting. Just
Oh
all
yeah.
yeah,
the
yeah,
aesthetic
like
of that
22 and
episode
stuff
was
like
great.
that. Invaders. I think they tried
Invaders
to
is
be
really
like
good. Yeah.
right. I think they tried to be more inventive with the less like like the less scientific science fiction that they could get. But I think the problem was that I think when they do science fiction, sometimes it's way better than I don't know 2-3 guys sleeping for 100 years and
I think the
somehow
episode
gas
this
in the tank.
season looked better overall,
Yeah.
with the exception of the videotaped episodes. I think it looked better than season one. I think that, and like Trish said, I think that they kind of did some really interesting stuff with like camera work and lighting and all that. They started to get more creative. I just think that they didn't spend as much time with some of the episodes. I'm going to say the episodes as a whole, not including some of the great episodes. Like, say there's 5, 6, 7, 8 just great ones, and the rest are either okay to bad. And I think that maybe they spent more time, they had more time to be creative and do new things, but the storytelling rather, that aspect they didn't spend as much time with this season with some of them, I think.
Maybe it was a path of least resistance. Like if they maybe would have spent an extra day kind of working through concepts, but they decided to go, well, this is the most straightforward A to B way, so we'll just go that way.
Yeah, maybe. Because I
And
remember
it's always
saying that quite a bit throughout this season. Is, oh, well, if they had more time. Oh, it's only 24 minutes. Because there were a lot of things we let go because we'd be like, it seems like they got from here to here really quick. I would have liked a little bit more explanation or more expanding upon that. And we'd always say, well, they only got 24 minutes, so they got to hurry things along. But I don't remember saying that nearly as much with season one. Season one was very much, it was more fluid as far as there was a lot less times I was like, well, they only got 24 minutes, so they had to speed it along.
Sounds like you're saying they're more ambitious. They're trying to be more ambitious in this season, but had still the same amount of time as they had last season.
Yeah, or didn't have the time to figure out how to make it seem smoother or more fluid like season one. Because I really, thinking back, I'm sure there were some, but there were in season one. I'm just like, I don't recall there being at least that many where I was like, I mean, sure, some of them could have been expanded upon, but they did it really well to where it wasn't like, oh, it didn't make sense how this happened, how they got here to here. No, they just always made it seem really fluid, like very thought out, like they spent a lot more time in the script writing process. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
I mean, yeah, I wonder if like having 29 episodes compared to 36 episodes, like were they trying to like tighten, like Tiger, tighten it up or something like that, or were they
Tiger?
And I guess I don't know, like out the gate, if you go back to that era, what was your average series run, per season? So like, was it average to do 36
3,000
or 29
episodes a season?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, like if you look at like, I don't know, I always go back to Mr. Ed because this premiered about the same time as Twilight Zone, and it would see each season had 26 episodes, except for the last season, which had 13 apparently. But I think what it was is, unlike today when we're more ingrained and we have more shit to watch, more stuff to watch, they figured 8 or 9 episodes is good. Back then there was like 3 channels that you could watch, so the chances are there's not as much programming, so they probably figured that a variety show or anthology show could do 39 episodes, fill in those time blocks for whatever they don't have available. It's probably how they did. It's probably the reason there's so many episodes per season.
I knew
the first
that-
one that came to mind. I looked at Bewitched, and season 1 had 36 episodes, 2 38,
Yeah.
3 33, 4 33, 30 30, 28 20. It did go down, but those were also like, I think weren't those were done in a studio audience, I guess. Or
Yeah, that
maybe the
was.
last track was added. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I know that
Well,
whenever
basically.
things were done live, they had more episodes because they usually did it like, I don't know if it was week to week to week, but I don't know. They had like a schedule, and
It
they
was
got
around
more
that, yeah.
ones.
I remember watching the there was a thing on Lucy and Desi, and they were talking about the schedules. Yeah, it was like once a week, if not twice, depending. Well, I guess it was like once a week they would do stuff. And that was kind of the same time frame generally.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad
Yeah,
thing. I mean,
26.
well, like for instance, The Last of Us just ended. It was only 9 episodes. It's like, do you appreciate having more episodes a season, or do you like the shortened seasons? Like, how do you guys feel? I mean, looking at like something like this, do you feel like the seasons are too long and they could have spread them out?
Well,
Or
this is an anthology series, so it's a little different. When you have like things that are overarching narrative, like you mentioned, The Last of Us, or Lost, or things like that have like a ongoing story. Too many episodes can get too much. With an anthology series where each episode is a new story, new character, new everything, I think it doesn't really matter. I'm like, how many good stories you got to tell? You got 50, let's do 50. You got 20, let's do 20.
Lost had 24 episodes a season. So,
well, back then, that's in the early 2000s and maybe even the 90s. Like that whole 22 episodes a season structure was, in America at least, was kind of the norm.
Yeah.
That 13 series structure comes from like I think they started that in the UK first.
Yeah. Well, and those seasons are always a little bit different anyway, so
yeah, it'd be like 5 years later, season 2.
Show's just as good though.
Yeah.
Well, I would say like Tales from the Crypt only had like 18, 16 episodes a season, so or 12 episodes. Looking that up, yeah. The second season at 18. I don't know. I think like I said, it's probably just they had slots they needed to fill, and maybe not as much TV shows as we have today. It's like crazy the amount of TV shows we have today. You can't keep up with that shit anymore.
Yeah.
There's so many, but
well, and by this point too, Twilight Zone. I mean, we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, but the reason that they went to hour-long episodes in season 4 was because they wanted more Twilight Zone because it was so popular. So I'm sure, like, the pressure on Rod Serling and season 2, even just like that mounting, okay, we need you to be a hit. You need to produce really awesome stuff, like those pressures that both internally and externally. Like, how do you one up season 1 of Twilight Zone?
Well, they spiked back up to 37 episodes next season, so
yeah.
On top of that, it's funny because season 4 is only 18 episodes, but they're hour-long a piece. So it's like watching 36 episodes.
Basically, yeah.
So, yeah. It's crazy. 37 episodes in a season, though. It's like, I guess the anthology kind of forgives that, but
well, it both makes it easier because you don't have to keep the narrative, but it also makes it tougher because every single week, like if you were to do, because we've even mentioned that, like, yeah, and trying to do, say, even 2 in the same like genre. So if you did like 2 time travel episodes back to back, like I think we talked about this, 100 Yards Over the Rim, and what was the one that came before or after that? It was set in the desert. It was very similar in tone, and it was Rip Van Winkle, wasn't it? Rip,
oh yeah,
Rip Van Winkle and
they drive
100
off
yards
the cliff for no reason.
Yeah, I mean they both are set in the desert. They're both time travel things. Like even doing something like that, like how close can they be, or how far apart do they have to be where someone's not going to go, well, you just did that last week, And obviously they're not done in order, but still.
Yeah, the more we sit here and talk about it, I know I'm kind of all over the place, and this isn't even having anything to do with what we've been talking about, but like we've been sitting here saying, did we like this season as much as season 1? Was it not lackluster, but was it a lesser season? I think it really is just the episodes as a whole. There's definitely bangers, they just didn't have that punch. Because I sit here and I'm thinking about them, and I really go back to the first episode I came on, which was before I started full time.
The Lonely.
The Lonely, which I thought was The Invaders, by the way. That's why I picked it. But The Lonely had like it was just a really interesting episode. And there were so many of those in season 1 that were just really like you didn't know. Was that like a banger episode? No, but it was a really fun, entertaining episode that you didn't know what was going to happen. It's not like the ending was like, oh my God, but you didn't know that that's how it was going to go down. There was mystery to it all, and you couldn't guess how exactly it was going to end in a lot of cases. And in this one, and it's not just because I've seen them, because I'm looking back at this season, I'm like, the vast majority of the episodes we watched this season, I didn't remember when I sat down to watch them. So it was kind of like watching them for the first time. Maybe there might be a little something, but as far as like what was going to happen, I didn't know. And I was able to pick it. Season 1, I couldn't do that. I think that they were just better written episodes as a whole, overall.
Yeah.
Not take The Invaders, the
Shadow Play,
Eye of the Beholder, Shadow Play. Take those out of the equation. They are the minority. But the majority of them were just good.
I think what it comes down to is variety. There was more variety in that season than there was in this season.
Absolutely. This one came across as kind of stale sometimes because it was kind of a lot of the same kind of. I mean, season 1 would be like, oh, here's this one about a guy who can give people their wishes in a diner, and now we're in friggin' space with a vivarium, and then we're over here and this rider with elephants showing up in his I mean, it was all over the place, but that gave it a variety that this season just did not have. I think you're right, it was the variety, but it was also I keep going back to none of these very few of these episodes captivated me as much as the ones from season 1. That's not me saying they're bad, they didn't have that really something special that just caught you off guard every time.
A lot of these episodes there's a lot of these episodes season 2 are fear, obsession, and I had other words I was going to say and I just forgot them, but there's a lot of like fear, a lot of fear mongering going on in the second season. There's a lot of obsession episodes. There's a lot of you look at Obsolete Man and Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up and Shadow Play,
Man
The
in the
Silence,
Yep.
Man in the Bottle, 22, Invaders, Eye of the Beholder.
Thing
It's
about
all
machines.
about what's that?
The thing about machines.
Yeah, think about machines. It's all about like it's all about fear. It's all about like the disillusionment of like society and how we start to
even the good
lose our
ones. Eye of the Beholder. Even the great ones were in that same neighborhood.
Yeah.
All about fear, and I think you're
Which
right.
I mean, that's a lot of TV in general. When you get into high concept sci-fi and all that, it's all about fear and the disillusionment of society and the all that stuff, and how we use that against morality in America or morality in the world, stuff like that. So I think that's why Obsolete Man hit me so hard, because it's just, you can look at any decade with a lot of these episodes and go, yep, that's 2023 right now.
I also see, to go to the variety thing, there's a lot less. We keep saying sci-fi, and some of it I guess is technically sci-fi, but I don't see a lot of these as sci-fi. Some of them are more supernatural, and first season had that too. I mean, look at the one with the guy in the back seat, and the
Hitchhiker.
Yeah. It was a nice mix. That's another part of that variety where you had sci-fi, you had some horror, you had supernatural, you had morality tale, all that. Well, they're pretty much all morality tales, but this one is a lot less sci-fi. It's mostly just oddities or maybe supernatural.
Paranoia is what I was thinking. Sorry, paranoia. There's a lot of paranoia in this season.
Yeah, but think about the era
those are the
too.
time,
like not that you can say
Well,
that
no.
there's
The reason I say that is the 1950s, I think, were less about paranoia than the 60s. I think that's when we started to get into like this. That's how I don't know. Then again, there was gigantic
if you look,
bugs.
if you look at B movies of the 50s, there is a ton of paranoia. Like that's like you're talking like nuclear threats, that whole 9 yards. That's I mean, the Red Scares, as much as they came in more in the 60s, you had McCarthyism in the 50s, you had all that stuff. So
Everybody
I
was
understand.
afraid that somebody was going to Hiroshima us.
Yeah, exactly. But
Was
that really wasn't that different between 59 and 61 so much.
Was Matinee, Joe Dante's Matinee, in the 50s or 60s?
I'm not 100% sure. I was gonna check and see when the Cuban Missile Crisis was.
That was
that
that was during JFK's reign.
Right. I know, but I'm trying to remember because that was
It was
a
like
huge
64 or something like that.
No,
I said 64, but it'd be later if it was.
No, because it was before.
It was 1962.
62, so that was in the future yet. But that build up to
But yeah, the build up was still there.
Yeah.
The Missile Crisis itself was the culmination of all of the shit. It was the end game.
Yeah, I guess
up to it.
I guess Hiroshima was in the 40s, so I guess you're right about that. So
yeah, everybody was afraid. I mean, that was a big deal. Jesus, that was a huge deal. People were afraid, hey, they're going to do that to us. We did it. Now, what's to stop them from doing it?
I mean, and this is kind of I don't know if you want to leave this in or not, but like the episode, what's it called? The Shelter? The one where you've got like the people are down in their bomb shelter.
One?
No, it's in season 3. I'm pretty sure it's season 3.
I remember that one. Yeah,
that one's upcoming. But like that whole like the paranoia thing was like Monsters Are Due on Maple Street times 2. You know,
was there one like that in season 1? Have we already watched one where some people were
Monsters Are Due on Maple Street?
Where they were holed up in a shelter, or am I just thinking about that one originally?
I think you're thinking about.
Yeah, there's nothing I could think of though. I mean, there was time enough at last. He was kind of held up there for a while in a shelter. The bomb went off.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Fever, he was, trapped by addiction, but that's not the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah. It's always fun to have people in close spaces like fighting against one another. There was an episode of Quantum Leap that did that I really liked. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this season? I mean, we can kind of start wrapping it up a little bit, but is there anything you guys want to get off your chest? Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
We have to do a ranking.
A ranking of our ranking.
Twilight Zone seasons.
Oh man,
best to worst up to season 2.
I guess I'm going 1 and 2.
I will second that. I don't know, man.
All right, guys. I need a drum roll, and I need to give you 20 minutes so I can explain my process for deciding what goes first and what goes second.
She's putting season 4 already. She's talking about.
All jokes aside, I do have to give this season this, if nothing else. This is such a weird season because overall, I don't feel like this season was as good as last season. But 3 of the top 5 episodes that we have on our list from those 2 seasons are from this season. 1, 2, and 4. I mean, the 2 best episodes in our opinion are from this season, and then the 4th. I mean, that's something. It's got some great episodes in it for sure, but I mean, it's got some shit ones too. It's not even the shit, the bad ones. Like we said, there's 5 in the top 10 and 5 in the bottom 10. Yeah, there's that, but I mean, there's a whole bunch more. It's just all the other ones are just, they might be good, they might be solid, but they're just kind of, they're not quite to that level of the first season, in my opinion.
I would add this, and I know this doesn't play in 100%, but I still think it's worth mentioning. So even though we've all seen the Twilight Zone in some way, shape, or form, even if it's been a while, like, I don't know about you guys, and I guess I kind of do from this perspective, like, and we've talked about this, looking at these with a critical eye versus looking at them just from the outside, you even if you watch them, in order, you're still looking at them in a different way. You're listening to the opinions and experiences of other people with them too. Season 1, when we started this, it was out the gate. I mean, again, it hit all of us like, oh my God, these episodes, they're amazing. I think that, season 1 was such an experience. And the first time any of us had done this, you get to season 2 and it's like, yeah, it's good, but we've seen this in season 1. They did this in season 1. Oh, well, we're comparing. There's so much more to compare it to,
Our expectations were higher.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, season 1 did have Perchance to Dream, so I mean that's a major hit against it.
Here's how I. So with that said, how you guys? What do you feel about the third season coming up? Is there any episodes you're really looking forward to? I know which one I'm looking forward to, but is there any ones that you remember that you're looking forward to?
The shelter one, I really look forward to getting thoughts on.
I remember that one. I remember liking that one, but I like those. I like sci-fi, and I like single set or single location stories, like where
Mhm.
people are stuck in a place and they got to figure out a thing. I like those those episodes. Let's see. What do we have? What do I remember any of these? The
I
shelter,
was actually just gonna go look them up too quick.
the passerby.
Well, I know the one I'm really looking forward to outside of 5 characters is the one with Buster Keaton.
Oh yeah, that one's fantastic.
Yeah.
5 characters in search of a. That's the trash can one, right?
Yes.
It's a recycle bin, damn it.
The trash can.
I do remember liking that one. I remember that one.
Oh, Once Upon a Time and 5 characters in search of an X are the same, like 2 episodes back to back.
Dead Man's Shoes seems really familiar. Kick the Can, I know is.
Yeah, that's
the
the one
Can
that
is
Spielberg
like
destroyed in the movie.
I think that's why I know it, because it's from it's. I mean, I've seen
too.
it, but I know we redid it in the movie.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't really care for that episode anyways.
I mean, it's got Scatman Crothers in it, so.
Scatman.
The Serve Man, episode 24. I know that's a good one. Not written by. Oh wait, teleplay by Rod Serling. Never mind.
But based on Damon Knight by Damon Knight.
So I'm
There is
gonna
a lot less Serling written episodes this season.
Oh
though.
yeah, you can see it. Like he started to like take a step back. I mean, he still writes episodes, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
really
he did a lot of
noticeable.
them, but there's a
Yeah.
lot less. Ray Bradbury wrote one. I Sing the Body Electric. That seems
That one's a
really
very
familiar.
good one.
That seems very familiar. I'm trying not to read the synopsises of them so I can go in as blind as possible. I've seen them all, but like I said, for whatever reason, I have a really good memory when it comes to movies and even TV. TV shows, I tend to like just remember the overall. Like I'm rewatching Doctor Who right now and just remembering how awesome that is. But like I remember the episodes, but I'm like, I don't remember what's happening, what's coming next, what exactly happens here. I remember the overarching thing. This one, like Twilight Zone, I was like Men in Black or something. There's something like I don't remember shit. I don't remember any of this. I know I've seen them though. I Sing the Body Electric is really familiar as far as its title.
So I'm looking forward to a really goofy one called Hocus Pocus and Frisbee. I love that one. It's so goofy. It's kind of I don't know if it's as good. From my memory, it's fun, but I don't know if it has quite the depth of A Most Unusual Camera or if it's going to be something really dumb like Mr. Dingle the Strong. But either way, it's got a fun, goofy thing about it. So
the depth of A Most Unusual Camera.
well, you know what I mean. It's
Or does it go to the
it's
depths?
stupid. Yeah,
Um,
it's stupid, but it's got like that thing that makes it really endearing. Or if it's
Does
just
this
going to be
season
really
have
dumb.
the episode with George Takei?
It does. It does very much. Yeah, we're gonna
There's
get
one
into.
episode.
Does he
Let's say there's
finish?
one episode with Leonard Nimoy.
Nice.
Oh, this season has the hunt, which I'm really looking forward to talking about. I love that. I really
Yeah,
like
the
that
Hunt?
episode. Yeah, it's with the old man and the dog.
Like from Young Frankenstein?
No, no, it's like
Gene
a
Hackman?
country. It's like a Jim, like what was that character? The Beverly Hillbillies.
Jethro?
Jed,
Jed?
Yeah.
Buddy Epstein. No,
Jethro
Oh,
was
yeah,
his
see.
son. Jed.
not Buddy Epstein. Is it Buddy Epstein?
I'll tell you a story about a man named Jed.
Yeah.
But no, it's like that type of character, and he has a dog, like a hound dog. It's pretty good. It's fun. It's not like
Ain't
top 10
nothing
or
but a
anything,
hound dog
Ain't nothing but a hell.
right?
crying all the time.
All right, all right. So, anything
Uh-huh.
else? Anything
No,
else you guys
baby.
want to talk about?
No, baby, that's about to do it.
Yep. Because anal.
Mama.
Because
Because
anal. That's how we end it.
Oh, that's a lot.
Anyways, with that said, that'll do it. That'll be our look at season 2. Like I said, we're moving past season 2. We're moving into doing a number 3, season 3.
Why,
So,
real quick, why were there,
Yeah.
because I know you guys got like the books and all that stuff. Why were there like season 1 had 36 episodes, and then season 2 dropped down to just 29, and then season 3 goes back up to 37. I know season 4 was, the hour-long thing, but why
They
the
spent some money on the
and
videotape. There's
season-
actually nothing about it, to be fairly
Season
honest.
5 goes
I'm-
to 36 as well, and they're back to half hours at that point. So what about season 2 made it only 29 episodes, I wonder? And I wonder if
not
that
sure.
kind of plays into what we're saying, that season 2, because they probably made season 1. I know I'm rambling again, but they made season 1 and they didn't know if they were greenlit for a season 2. So I bet they did have less time between season 1 and season 2 than any other season, because they're waiting, and then ratings come in and they're like, hey, it's doing well. Okay, you're greenlit for season 2. So they probably had even less time than a year. Like probably before season 2 was done, they had already started on season 3, because they knew, oh, okay, you got a season 3 coming, you're greenlit. But season 1 to 2, they didn't know, because, they're not going to greenlight it if it's not, making numbers. I don't know. I'm totally talking out of my ass here. So that would leave them with like less time. So maybe they could only come up with 29, but that might also speak to why some of them are maybe not up to the same quality storytelling wise. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find
I
it.
don't know.
I'm not seeing anything specific.
That's the only thing I can think.
Maybe it was like they had Mr. Ed coming into the mix. I mean, I don't know. Like,
They're carrot up his ass.
it could be it could be like they had a lot of shows like premiering that season. They only felt like they needed 29 episodes. I mean, who
I think
knows?
it's a time thing. I'm going with the time thing. It
Could be the VHS. Yeah, it could be the
start
videotape
telling
stuff.
people that,
But,
along with Ryan Reynolds being in Troll 2.
right. So anyway, so that is our look at season 2, or the wrap up of season 2. The next thing we're going to do for the next week is get into season 3, which is the season 3 episode 1, which is called 2. This is a direct episode directed by Montgomery Pittman, stars Charles Bronson and Elizabeth Montgomery. It's supposed to be a pretty good episode from everything I hear, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But without further ado, that's it. Triv, Jacob, fun as always. Look forward to season 3 and the year and a half it'll take us to get to that episode of the season. Hopefully, nobody will be moving or anything, or nobody dies. So stay safe.
Wow.
Don't get hit by Dan Adams. Stay away from cars and women drivers. I don't
Took
know.
us 36 weeks, 37 weeks.
We'll probably do another Twilight Zone movie segment like at Christmas time or something like that. So,
I want to do
anyways,
what is it? The kid who took his sister's mouth away.
yeah, that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Nancy,
Taking him out to the cornfield.
Right. It's a good life. Anyways, Triv, you're still homeless, but that's your own
Yep.
fault. But where can they find your content at?
Well, when
Hey,
I
I'm sorry. When is that? Have we already watched that episode? That episode.
What, It's a
hadn't
Good
come out.
Life?
No, yeah, we did already watch that episode, didn't we? The one.
No, we haven't watched it.
No, so the kid that was in a long distance call.
The William Shatner 30 billion feet.
No, well, we
No,
watched
that
the
one's
one
still-
with we watched the movie version, but
We watched
not,
the movie.
that
What
was
was
like
the
season
episode?
5.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I was
season
like,
5.
wow, we reviewed that. We haven't even watched the episode yet. But then I know we watched part of it while we were talking about it. So I was
Well,
like, have we?
Jacob, the good thing is you'll remember the episode when we get to it, hopefully. 10 years
Well,
from
you
now.
see William Shatner, there's only a couple of episodes that he's in, so
Yeah.
Nick of time.
Yep. All right, Triv,
Yeah,
where's your
Triv.
content?
Well, currently, my theater is not presently on this plane of existence. So, you can check out my back catalog on my channel, Trivial Theater, here on YouTube. You can also see me on sorry, I can't speak today. TYTD. I'm doing a month-long collab with him. So definitely check out his channel for some of my content. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Trivial Theater.
Excellent. Jacob, I know
Yeah.
you're still in the process of doing some kind of special video. I think you will get that out eventually, but where will it be located?
On my channel on YouTube.
Yay!
No, I have a YouTube channel. People are probably wondering, do I still have a YouTube channel? I do have it. I am working on getting back into the swing of things. I will actually be doing a review tomorrow of a movie I'll be seeing.
Yay!
It'll probably get drowned out by all the other reviews that are coming out for it, but I'm going to put one up anyway for those of you that are interested as of this recording. So by the time you're listening to this, it was like last week. But I'm hoping that will kickstart me back into getting in the rhythm of at least doing some movie reviews or talking about them. I want to do something a little different. I'm just kind of I did the same thing for like 3 years and change. I'm like, you know what? It's time. Let's. I still want to talk about movies, but maybe like not the same back. I want to change it up a little bit.
Fair.
So ultimately, I'm trying to that amongst many other things going on at the same time, trying to figure out how I want to do that. But I still want to talk about movies. I've had quite a few of them I wanted to, but then I go to do it and I go, not today. So
Not
So the
today,
big
sir.
question-
Not today.
review
we'll-
incoming or in came and another big video coming very soon. I want to stop saying that and say, hey, it's there.
Will Jeff be joining you?
Yeah, for that, no, Jeff is only for you guys.
Aw,
Only
that's
for
sweet.
us.
For your eye only.
For your eye only. All right. With that said,
What about
I haven't
you?
moved- I'm everywhere. I'm anywhere and nowhere.
Oh God.
I'm,
Technically,
I'm
if you're watching
omnipotent.
this video, you've kind of already, just hit subscribe.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Hit subscribe. join those anals. That type of thing. No, I'm at Movie Emporium. I do things there. I have videos and reviews. I sometimes
Lots.
post videos and reviews. I frequent videos and reviews. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at. Movie
You
Emporium.
can also see him at the Pleasure Emporium when he's not at the Movie
That's right.
Emporium.
Which hasn't been destroyed in Triv's universe, so we're good to go.
Ah, Jesus. Anyway.
Anyways, so yeah, also audio feeds for these videos or these videos, this podcast, which you can find Anchor, iTunes, Google Play, all that good stuff. But we'll see you for the start of season 3 next week. And without further ado, for myself, Triv, and Jacob, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
Bye.
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 Scott
What's going on,
Adkins.
everyone? he's like, Scott Atkins. You mean mateys? What were we talking about? Oh yeah. It was
Twilight
supposed to,
Zone.
yeah, Twilight Zone. Triv's head's exploding from like my nonsense. I'm sorry, Triv.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Are we doing explosions?
We should.
Yes, give me something for the end of this video. Thank you.
Too much Taco Bell?
Ah.
Yo quiero talk about.
Yeah. Yo quiero taco. Oh, shit.
Shit.